Throughout the Kansas Math Project, we talk a lot about being very systematic with our instruction. And systematic instruction involves being very explicit with instruction so that students can engage in transfer and inquiry. And that explicit instruction is where it's really important to focus, because that's where students develop the foundation with whichever content we are focused on. And as we make our instruction clear, it helps for students to do the math. You are about to do your first clear activity for this module, so let's look at an example. This is an example for something that is later in the module, but I think it's a nice example to look at. So you are going to first think about constructing your plan. So that's where I would like you to reflect upon the standard or standards that are important for this content. And maybe you think about, well, what foundational skills do students need to be successful with this standard? And maybe you review those skills with your students. And then you're going to describe your lead by modeling. This is a dialogue between you and your students. This dialogue is step by step for how to do something in mathematics. In this example, it's calculating volume. Notice how much math vocabulary is embedded within this example. Notice how engaged the students are. The teacher is constantly engaging the students and asking them lots of questions and checking in frequently. And also notice how sometimes these examples might have representations, such as you see here. After you do the lead by modeling, that really sets students up for success with that math content. It's time to engage students in practice. So here again is that dialogue, that teacher-student dialogue on how students would be actively engaged in practicing with the teacher. And then after students engage in practice, it's time for us to think about, well, what are the ways that students would apply independently? I just put a very brief description here. I hope yours is better than mine. And then what kind of data will you collect so that you know that your students are doing well with the content? So maybe you're doing observations, maybe you're doing discussions, maybe you're collecting student work samples, or maybe you're doing error analyses. So that was one example of a clear model for something that's later in this module. Now it is your opportunity to do your own. So that brings us to activity 3, where you are going to choose something related to time that is important for your students. Maybe it's telling time, or working on word problems with time, or maybe it's something else entirely. But it has to be related to time. And now you're going to construct your plan, lead by modeling, describe your engaging by practice, thinking about how you're going to apply independently and what kind of data you will collect so that you can refine with data. When you develop a clear model, this takes time. I'm playing on those time things all the time right now. And I would expect that you're going to probably spend 15 or 30 minutes on this, maybe even longer. So I will see you in a little bit of time.